this thing off. Welcome back, everyone, to Duster, a podcast about HBO Max's hit show Duster, brought to you by the DVR Podcast Network. That's us. Go to dvrpodcast.com. Become a patron like Joe Bear's mom, Joe Bear, and our newest patron, Joshua. And listen, if you've been following along with us on this journey of Duster, and now we've come to the end, and you're like, hey, how do I listen to these three amazing guys all the time? And the way you do that is go over and just search Daily DVR, or look, it'll be in the show notes, or go to dvrpodcast.com, and you can subscribe to that feed, and that'll be basically everything we do, because I think soon we're going to do our top shows of the half year, top TV shows of the half year. We might jump in on a little bit more reality TV. Jenny and Gina and I talked about The Ultimatum and as well as Next Gen NYC. Might talk a little Bachelor in Paradise on a pod here and there, but mostly we'll talk about dramatic television, which we all love, and we will soon be covering in August Alien Earth, the new FX show. I just do all these hand
I
motions
was a
just
little
for
late in
Solo.
my reaction. I apologize.
Alien Earth, Andy and I will be covering that. Solo might guest, but it'll be mainly me and Andy just holding each other's hands, trying not to get a face hugger to the face.
Or
But
trying to
we're
get a
here to talk.
picture. One or the other.
Or trying to, right, get for the experience for the pod. We'll do anything for the podcast.
Yeah.
See, I
But
didn't know what a face hugger was, then I realized I just did. But see, that's why I'm not in the loop with alien face huggers.
well, we'll talk about that soon. So subscribe to Daily DVR, go to dvrpodcast.com. If you loved us for this season, thank us by becoming a patron for a month. We appreciate it. We really do. We love you all. Today we're talking about Duster, Season 1, Episode 8, 66, Reno Split. We've made it to the end, guys. I thought this was a super fun episode. We got some answers. We got a couple more questions. We got, I think, a setup for a larger show and a bigger, maybe cast and all that, right? Maybe even a location change, who knows? But overall, I was just rollicking the whole time. We of course got some losses as well. But Solo, what are your main thoughts on the Duster season finale?
The Duster season finale. Well, it's great to be back, guys. I've been the world traveler, or
Yeah,
at
that's
least
right.
domestically.
We missed you.
I've been dusting myself all the way across the country, but I'm back, exhausted. But I said, who needs sleep when you got Duster to talk about? So, no, I really enjoyed the finale. I didn't feel it was like as strong as a lot of the episodes. It almost felt like I remember the first time we watched Game of Thrones season one, where the penultimate episode like blew you away, and then the finale was kind of almost was setting up next season, but
Yes,
resolving
yeah.
some stuff. That's the feeling I got. But I love hanging out with these characters, and I guess I'm a little disappointed in some deaths or potential deaths. Um, Two bombshells I didn't see coming. My wife saw one of them, the Izzy issue, and I was like, "Really? You saw that coming?" And then she explained to me, "Well, she's hiding secrets, the doctor being at the hospital," and I'm like, "Oh yeah."
Yeah,
And
being
I did
sick. Yeah.
kind of bring up a little bit ago. I don't think Mr. Jim Ellis's brother, what is his name? Fred Ellis? No, I'm just
Joe,
Joey.
Joe,
Joey. Joey
Joey.
Tribbiani Ellis was alive. I just felt this, and of course, we find out he's Xavier, which changes everything. But we'll get into
Yes.
that. But no,
Yeah.
it's what a great season. I had a lot of fun with the show. Enjoyed just the music and just the direction, and Nina Hayes introducing Rachel Hilson to my life. So I actually am more disappointed that there isn't another episode than I am of anything. That's what I'm the most, because I really want to see where this goes.
Yeah, agreed. Ando, what's your DL?
I really liked it. I thought it was a little different than the other episodes, so I enjoyed it. Like Solo, you told us before we started, you just watched it, just finished here a few minutes before we started, so you haven't sat with it long. And the first time I watched it, I liked it, but I didn't love it as much. And I watched it like last Thursday night. So then I watched it again last night to refresh myself, and I found I liked it a lot more the second time. I didn't think there was as much humor in this episode because there was, I mean, when you start off with waterboarding in the first 5 minutes, it's got a more serious tone for sure. So I think right away that kind of caught me off guard because it wasn't as like rollicking, if you want to use that term, and just fun. It was more, there was a lot more dramatic stuff here, and like the stuff with
Yeah.
Nina and Sax going head to head, like way more intensity. And like usually in my notes, I've got 25 different lines that I write down that I just pepper in through the podcast because there's such great lines, and there wasn't the snarky comments back and forth of the smart. It was time to get down to business, and I really liked it a lot more the second viewing. I think it's a really strong episode. I really liked it a lot. I don't think it's the best episode of the season, but I really enjoyed it. I liked where some things ended up. Some things are headed in a different direction. I hope it gets renewed. So yeah, I really liked it. I'm excited to talk about this episode.
Cool. Cool.
What about
Yeah.
you, buddy?
Yeah, like I said, I really loved it. I thought it was a lot of fun. And one of the things I was impressed about is that it like they dove right into things. They could have done this thing where Billy takes Nina and hides her or is trying to get information, and then gets her out, and then they go after right? But they didn't do that. Like everything just kept on happening. And then I especially like the move of Jim just going right there, like giving himself up
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
just going to Sachs and be like, "Yeah, I'm here. Let's talk about it. This is why I did it." And then the whole setup with his dad, the reason why he did that was cool too. I thought it was able to bring all of the characters together for the end result. And then the decision that Sachs makes, which is about saving his daughter, but also about Jim and Wade and their relationship, I felt was really satisfying to me. Like you could see he was going to do it, and then he did it. And then I was like, okay, I get it. You know what I mean? Like it made me feel, and then they all started working together against the Greek mafia. So,
No, that's a
You
um,
great
know,
point,
oh,
Axel, because oh sorry, Endo.
go ahead.
Because Corbin Burnson, just him sitting around at a bar, knowing, waiting for 5 o'clock, a gun in his holster, knowing he may have to do something that he doesn't want to do, but he's gonna do it. And that
yeah,
kind of gave us a taste of how he was in the past. Because we see him with Charlotte a lot, goofing around and be like, honey, I'll take care of this. But even when he dresses up to go see Sax about getting Nina in as an interpreter, and now this scene, I want the young Wade Ellis episode. That's how excited I got. I like, not that I was in love with Corbin Burnson. I liked Corbin Burnson a lot. He'll always be my Roger Dorn. But like, I saw a new edgy, like 70s badass Corbin Burnson that I don't know if I've ever seen before. I'm sure he's played roles like that, but I was just really excited. And I'm like, is he gonna do it or not? But he was
yeah,
prepared to. I
yeah,
mean, so that shows a lot, like you said, about their relationship. Sorry, Endo.
Well, I was on the Corbin Burnson thing. I think a lot of it, he hasn't had this caliber of writing to act with very often in his career. So I think that's part of why it's so he's like I've mentioned Kiss Kiss Bang Bang before, but he's kind of a bad guy in that, but he's got a much smaller role. He's allowed to be charismatic here, and just the writing is so damn good that I think
Doesn't
that
it
helps.
almost feel like if he were alive, this would have been a Ray Liotta possible
Oh,
role? You know what I
yes.
Oh, I
mean?
like
Like
that.
that
Yeah.
type of
Yep,
role that he would
for
play.
sure. For
And it
sure.
so it was nice to see Corbin Burnson playing that role and being like, don't be surprised. I mean, of course, hopefully we get renewed. Hopefully Duster gets renewed. Um, but like I could see him in these supporting roles, maybe playing a badass or some sort of,
hmm
I think he might have a final chapter of playing some
Yeah.
badasses.
Yeah, it would be cool. What I was going to say earlier too, Axel, I think you made a good point too about how they just got to things in this episode. Like
Yeah.
there's certain things, like especially with some of the Billy stuff, where in other shows, Billy would be torturing Nina for half an episode or a whole
Right.
episode before
That's what
Sax
I'm
comes in.
talking about, dude.
Or like
Right?
when he
Yes.
takes
Yep.
Jim out and like hits him with the baseball bat, and Sax immediately is like, "Get out, knock it off, and get down." Like they don't. Not to say other shows waste time with that kind of thing, but we don't need to see. This is not, especially not this show, is not the show to see Nina getting tortured for 25 minutes in an episode.
Yeah,
They
no.
get right to it. And another thing that I was going to mention too that was a little different than about this episode, which I liked, is every other episode has had all these great character actors that have guest starred and all this stuff in this season. This is almost entirely all our main cast. We've seen everybody before.
Yes.
It's
Yep.
kind of a cool wrap up of the season. With it, it brings all the pieces together, even Sal and all that stuff. So I liked how they didn't, there wasn't like the outside. I still love all the outsiders coming in, but I like that it's our main cast all together in
Yeah,
one
man.
spot, and I
Yeah.
think that's cool too.
Exactly. Exactly. Yeah, and we start off with the flashback with Nina and her dad and witnessing like him kind of getting it's not really because that's interesting. I like the way they set up because it's not really that Sax is shaking him down. It sounds more like they work together, right? And the dad is up to something, and it kind of seems like he is up to something. We later find out he was. But I liked all this flashback stuff, this black neighborhood. It reminded me of seeing the stuff in Sinners, which we just watched last week. I know you watched that too, Ando.
Yes, it did have there was a lot of that same. I mean, that took place much earlier than this, but
Yes.
it had those same kind of, even the way it was shot a little bit and
Yeah, that
everything.
was
Now,
cool.
what did you guys think? And I haven't been able to find out if it was de-aged or if it was a different actor with his voice dubbed in of young Sax. Did you guys
I
notice
think
at
they
all?
just put a little filter on. They had a little filter on
I
the.
thought he looked more like Terry Crews than he did like Keith David, but it was obviously still
You
Keith
saying
David's
Keith
voice.
David's an expendable? I
I
mean,
thought I thought it was good. I thought
Yeah,
this worked for me. They played with the light a little bit, and
yeah, it still worked for
filter
me,
the
but
grain was turned up when he was
yeah,
on a little bit more.
yeah,
yeah, because
No,
you don't see his face but hear his voice for a while until the end, and then yeah,
yeah,
so
yeah, yeah.
technology,
I dug
baby.
it. Yeah,
yeah.
I thought the whole thing was cool, and
Hmm.
like I was saying, it kind of set that up too, which I think that now that we're at the end of the season, and spoiler alert, Sax dies, or does he? Because maybe
Yeah.
there's an extra heart somewhere. Maybe season two starts with Jim driving for another heart, right? Um,
Gets a call from a payphone in the middle of the desert,
yeah,
then picks up the
exactly,
heart.
Yeah.
That's where he gets his
exactly.
heart calls.
It's
And I
just
love how,
that's the only
we talked
time.
on that. I think we talked on that first episode. I think Heath, you might even been like, how does he know that that phone's going to ring? Or why is he there?
I know.
We never went back to the phone the entire season.
He has really
It's
good hearing.
Yeah, well,
Um,
it's funny because we never that was in all the pre-marketing stuff. It was a big deal, the phone call and the desert
I
thing,
know.
Well,
and it
didn't
never went back.
yeah, didn't Jim say that the son was at the hospital? So he's not officially
Yes,
dead yet. He's not like your
Right.
dad
No.
died, right?
Yes,
yep,
that
yeah. He
Okay.
that
said
is
Royce is
true.
at the hospital. Yep.
Well,
Okay,
that's why I
so
mention it. That's why I
yeah.
mention it too. And because he had that line, "Do you need a heart?" Like,
Yeah,
he literally
Yeah,
said it.
I
So it's kind of
know.
like you can't say that and not maybe think he's going to be alive again. We find out that Joey's alive too. So you know what I'm saying? Like, come on. But I was going to say is that it illustrates something which I thought was really well communicated with the character of Sax, that he is not just like this heavy bad guy, right? Like he's more complicated. And as we see in the flashback, he didn't just come in there and say, "Give me the money," and shoot him. You know what I'm
well,
saying? It was,
though, part of that though is he maybe would have if Nina hadn't knocked over the candy jar
I
and
don't
let
know
it.
about that.
That's what I'm not sure. I mean, I like how that's kind of ambiguous, where he
Yeah.
could have done more something at that point, and then
I think
she
there's more
interrupted the
to
whole
it.
thing.
I
Yeah,
think Sax is still smart enough because remember this episode, he's like, we can't kill a Fed.
yep.
So
Yeah.
I think he's very calculating with who he has do his thing and whatnot.
Yeah.
So
Oh, for
he was
sure.
just basically putting in the scare, giving him a last chance to come around and to, we need gambling to go and you're losing me money. And
Yeah.
so I don't think he would have killed him then, but something would have happened eventually. And that's the one thing about Sax. I've been back and forth all season. Is he really a bad guy? Is he not? And he was ready to give up Jim, and without manipulation in his mind, he was going to give up Jim, have Nina killed. So he
Yeah.
is a bad dude. He just
Yes.
does is can be easily, not easily, but with thought, he will listen and will change his mind. And that we've seen when Luna helped him with the, change his mind about the strike and everything. And now even this episode, him just turning around and realizing, because that relationship between Wade and Saxon, I mean, they've been through so much crap together. So it's almost like but when it comes to family, that's where
Yeah.
you get
That's
trumped,
I
you
think in
know?
that first or second episode I talked to, and we've kind of been asking this question a lot, and I said I kind of thought he was going to be like Vito Corleone, and I still think that's kind of what he is, because
Yeah.
Vito Corleone was extremely loyal to his family. You could reason with him, but he still could be unrealistic and is very much still a bad guy, but still
Yeah.
in that same vein. Obviously not the
He's
same, but
complicated. He's a
yeah,
more complicated. There's more to him, and that's what's cool.
Yeah. That's why
Just
I
like
hope
how
he's
he
not
listen.
gone because
yeah,
And
I
he,
want to see more.
yeah, me too. Like you listen to Izzy, all that kind of stuff. So then we have Billy waterboarding
oh,
Nina,
damn,
which again, we're glad it didn't go on for too long.
yeah,
Um, but it
I
was
needed more
done
waterboarding
very
personally.
well. So, and also we had a new thing here where it's like over the edge Billy, where every once in a while he just goes,
yeah.
he added this to the character this episode. Not sure if I like that decision, but it
I
definitely
did.
communicated that he was pissed off in this episode because there were some roars.
Yeah.
In our credits, we get I thought this was really fun. And as this show was progressing, and my wife was like, at one point, she was like, "What was the credit thing again?" And I was like, "It was the tape." But it wasn't just the tape, it was the reel to reel with the cop cars like going on the reel to reel. But we didn't actually see that reel to reel until the final scene of the
And
episode.
the thing I also liked about that credit thing is it's set up like a finish line, and we're crossing the finish line at the same time we're crossing the finish line in the season. I thought that was kind of a fun little nod too.
Yes.
I will have to say I
Nice.
finally caught it I caught that in the credits and I was proud of myself. It
Yeah.
took me 8 episodes.
Nice. I like that. So let's see what happens. Jim arrives with Izzy, has a little talk. Uh, I mean, with
Yeah,
Luna.
that's when Dr. Boyfriend says that he talked to a bald guy, intense. He's a kind of an intense guy, and
Yeah,
that's when he finds out that Grooms
yeah.
has told Billy what's going on.
Which I was trying to figure out. I was thinking about it. Last episode, did we totally pick up on that, or were we not sure that Billy totally believed him, and so he wanted to waterboard her and
No, we knew
uh,
he believed.
yeah,
Yeah, I
okay,
don't think
We
that.
knew.
Yeah,
okay.
I don't think that was
I
ever a
couldn't
question
remember. I don't know
Yeah,
why,
yeah, yeah.
but
because
I just
he wanted to believe
yeah,
uh she was
Well,
not what she seemed, so he
Wade
didn't need much convincing.
earlier in the season, he kept asking Jim, "Why are you asking questions?" He's very skeptical about
Yeah,
everybody and
yep.
everything, and so yeah.
yeah, that's true. And I also we get a little foreshadowing of Jim being able to help out with the union boss Bob as well in this scene. Um, and then we go back to the FBI office. Heath's brother is
He's
yelling at
back.
Awan
Yeah,
Abbott.
Abbott, yeah.
Heath, have we come up with your first name yet as his brother? What's your first name going to be?
Frank.
Frank. I can like that. Frank
Frank
Abbott.
Abbott.
Yeah.
F.A. Fa. I like
Abbott and Costello. Frank
it.
Abbott.
Yes, there you go.
But they're worried about Nina's missing. Where did she go? What's going on? Jim calls. He tells Awan what's going on.
I'm glad he
That
called the right Owan. You can't just call any Owan.
that's true. That's true. This Nina's partner, her cover's blown.
I love that little conversation too. I hope assuming we have season two, I want to see those two interact together because I think that would be a lot of fun because there's
Yeah,
very different characters
yeah, it was
and
good. And
very different actors.
this was a great also like a laundromat that first they did a nice inside the laundromat shot and he's also on a payphone too. Jim is on a payphone, so that should be noted. It's not a payphone in the middle of the desert, but it is at the cleaners.
There you go.
They're all connected
They're all
Yes.
for your
connected.
alien
Well,
traveling theories.
it does fulfill it. And we get Awan looks worried, and of course, we get our man looking over at him, and we have the
Right.
great song
Grant,
I
yeah.
love. Grant's looking at him, but Sax is driving along there
Oh,
with his
this was awesome.
chauffeur, listening to Trouble Man by Curtis Mayfield.
Marvin
Go
Gaye.
it. What's that?
Isn't it Marvin Gaye?
No, I think it's Curtis Mayfield, isn't it? Or is it Marvin Gaye? Look it up. I thought it was Curtis Mayfield. Maybe I'm wrong. Solo? You're the deciding factor. Who are you going to decide
Yeah,
with?
it's Marvin Gaye.
Marvin
Oh,
Gaye.
I
I'm gonna
was
go with
wrong.
Marvin
Okay.
Gaye.
As I said, it was Marvin Gaye, not Curtis Mayfield. Marvin Gaye. I'm sorry. And I like this too, which is again, Sax is showing up when he was driving into this mine. It looks like I was like, "Where's he going? Is he going to meet with Greek Sal or something, or what's going on?" Right? No, he's going to meet with Billy, and he starts talking to Nino right away.
Right.
They get into it, right? She admits to everything. That this is what I really liked. And we're like not even like what 10 minutes or so, 12 minutes into the episode and we're getting something that we've been waiting all season for. And I thought that this was a really powerful scene played very well by both the actors here. Like she was we a lot Nina spends a lot of this episode like fucking chained up, right? And I think that in this scene, she has a kind of an anger and like a just like a rawness to her
Hmm.
that she didn't have earlier in this season, obviously for the circumstance, but also it fits well for the finale. I don't know. What did you think about
Oh,
that, Ando?
it was one of the few times all season where she felt like she was out of control. Like
Yeah, yeah.
she wasn't cool and collected. And yeah, I thought she was, this was, I think, her best episode. She was really, really great in this. And before I forget too, part of the reason I knew it was Marvin Gaye is literally the night before I watched this episode, I showed Luke Captain America Winter Soldier. The song is also prominently featured in that film. It's a big part of, especially near
Oh,
the
Oh,
end where Falcon is like, this is one of the things you have to listen to, Trouble Man by Marvin Gaye, to catch Cap up on the what he's missed over the time. So I had two nights in a row hearing that same song. And I love that song anyway, so it was very cool. But anyway,
oh, you
so
know, I
yeah,
got mixed up with Pusher Man and Trouble Man.
oh,
there you
Pusher
go.
Man.
I'm your Pusher Man. Um,
But you're right, Axel, real quick about getting 10 minutes in, we get big reveals and the big confrontation. So many finales, something has to happen, and it's like there's 7 minutes left in the episode. Are they going to hit this? Are they going to hit this? So that's what got me excited. Like, oh, there's a lot that could be happening this episode because we
Mhm.
got that so early. And I thought it
yeah,
was a really good move. I agree with you guys that it was fast moving. You're right, Ando. I started thinking about after you said it, how this did feel like a different episode, the less comedic stuff, and there's
Mhm.
a few Baltimores in there, but nothing, it was
Yeah,
very
there's
serious. And I
yeah.
think that's what at first got me a little like, oh, am I watching the same show?
mhm.
Oh, I am, but what's different? And yeah, you're right, because it's really, I
Yeah,
can't wait to
it's
rewatch it because, and sit with, like you said, sit with it again because. this had a different tone, but we needed it. You know, it
Hmm.
was one we needed it bad, and that
That's
um
why I really appreciated it more and liked it more the second time because the
yeah.
first time I was expecting one thing and it wasn't exactly what I was expecting. I still knew I liked it, but I couldn't quite place it. And after my second viewing, I thought it really improved, and it's just another great episode, I think. So it's the God, what were you saying just before that? I was gonna say something. Oh, I forgot it. I'll get if I remember it, I'll get back to it.
It's
But
okay, man. We're men of a certain age or about to
that's
be.
true. Yeah.
Um, so uh, I should say Izzy is giving Bob she gives him the old pics of him touching a boobie, and we never got
I
to see that girl again, which I liked her. I was hoping she would
yeah.
pop up again and help out in
Yeah.
some way, like get the team back together.
I
Yep.
know we're going through chronologically, but I have to, you bring up what about him on that press conference when he's like, women should be equal. I mean, I freaking lost my shit. I
That was
was
great.
like, this is, I mean, it
Yeah.
is perfect because he's got his tail between his legs and he has no choice. I know we'll hit it, but I had to, like, I've been dying to mention that. That was
Yes, that
great.
was
You,
hilarious.
you know what I thought was cool, and it's fine. We don't have to go. It does. We don't have to be like tied to the chronological of it all because this storyline plays out. I mean, we've been watching it the whole season. The strike, we knew that she was a trucker, that affected Sachs. The way that this all kind of worked out by Luna getting into the car, convincing Sachs, then the pictures that we saw earlier are used as we had thought they would be. But I had kind of said I think that it would be like a choice that Jim has to make, but it all went so smoothly. I really kind of like that. I like how other parts of the show are complicated, things don't work out. But in this case, it really worked out. And then when she talks about the cancer, her having cancer as well, then it's like, that whole storyline really has more resonance and meaning.
Hmm.
And I really like the way that it just worked out, that there wasn't like a little hitch there. They didn't kidnap Luna or Izzy, or Bob
Right,
didn't kill
right.
her, or
I
like,
really
I like that.
liked how they worked the Luna storyline into the whole main storyline because I was really questioning at the beginning. It's like, why do we have a kid here? And I mean, I liked all of her scenes, but I couldn't quite understand why she was there. But the fact that she's the piece that brings the Saxton thing back to him basically letting Jim live and all, and I loved how
Yes.
all that fit together. And the I mean, I had predicted that Izzy was pregnant, not that cancer. The cancer
Me
thing
too.
that
Me too.
surprised me
That's what I just
because I
figured.
knew there was something because we had seen her at the hospital a couple times before, and she says the lines about "I don't tell you everything," so I knew there was something. But I assumed it was pregnant. I was actually pretty shocked with the cancer thing. That one really surprised me. But the yeah, that the Luna stuff, I really ended up loving how that all
Yeah.
fit in, especially the last episode feeding into this episode. I really loved how that all fit. It was good
Again,
stuff.
the great writing of this show, there's a reason for everything. You know me, I get excited when little things are dropped and then we get there's a
Yeah,
reason for that. And
the
that's how you're
payoff
supposed to
later.
write.
Yep.
Um,
Yes.
Yeah. I
but it
know.
really
Yeah.
is because that storyline, I'm like, okay, she's fighting for the rights. Maybe it's the time. I get it. What does it have? And then you get the bomb dropped on you and you're like, no wonder she wants these damn benefits. She's gonna be starting treatment. And I'm like, son of a gun. Like I did
Yeah.
honestly so
Yeah, it tied
focused
that
on
whole
other
insurance
things.
thing in and everything too.
Yeah.
That was great. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, you know what I was gonna say that I missed before? Back to that Sax and Nina talking. Well, I thought we heard there was something interesting about Nina there when he says, if this was about revenge, you could have killed me at any time. And she said it's about justice. I'd always assumed she was out for pure revenge. She was more for justice. I thought that was a cool thing we learned about her
Yeah.
character. And like how
I
she said, you're gonna
agree.
rot in prison for all this. And I also one funny line, even though when she says it, it's not funny, she calls Billy a caveman. And I thought, wow, that is a perfect description
Captain
of Billy. Yeah. You're gonna
Caveman.
send your caveman back in here to do your dirty work? At least be man enough to do it yourself. I'm like, Nina is so awesome. That was just a
Yeah.
great little line. So anyway, sorry.
Yeah.
Back to the Luna and
Now I'm
Izzy.
gonna be Captain Cavemanning it. Oh my God.
That was a classic. Um, No, I guess getting back to it, they get back to their, like you're saying, they have their conversation. And she is really, throughout the episode too, you have both Jim and Nina being worried about each other all the time, right? Like mentioning each other. Oh, are they okay? We're, at this point, he pulls up and just gets right into it, admits everything about the C4 and all that to Sax, which again, it's good that they're just getting it out in the open. And he seems to understand because, like he said, he says to Nina, he's not surprised. Okay, she's an undercover FBI agent. It's not like she's his daughter or something. He didn't come to know her that well, right? He's met her like two times.
Yeah.
But the part that he's upset about is Jim and Wade being involved in it somehow. And I guess that was a question I had, guys, is I guess we can surmise that the reason he knows Wade is involved in it is because if he lied about knowing her, right? Like that's where she
Well,
came
yeah,
from,
because
right?
yeah,
Yeah.
Wade's the one who set up, came to him and said, "I hear you're out of an interpreter. I've
But it's
got one."
confirmed by
Yeah,
Billy going there and looking for the jacket and them playing along with it. So he's like, they're definitely in on it because I know she's an FBI agent and they double lied. Like they doubled down on it when I went over there. So that's again to like kind of discussed off camera. We don't see him say that directly to him. Um,
Yeah,
and
because Sax doesn't know Jim's involved and Nina until Billy called, right? Because Billy doesn't kidnap her with Sax knowing. He brings her
yeah,
to the thing and then calls Saxon.
yeah. It says it's an
So,
emergency, and Sax shows up out there,
so
and
the
he's like,
thing with
"What's
the
the fucking
fur,
emergency?"
yeah, the
Yeah,
thing with the fur and everything was still just Billy. But
yep.
right.
so
But that confirms it, right?
Well, I think the
I don't
confirmation
think
is
it
just
did.
that Wade's the one who set him up, and because Wade came into his office and said, "I heard you're out of an interpreter. I've got one,"
Yeah, maybe
and
you're right. Maybe it
that's
doesn't
that's what
matter.
I took it at,
It
anyways. But
doesn't matter. It doesn't really matter.
Yeah, yeah.
But
It matters to me, Axel, that you.
well,
It,
I mean, I guess when you're
it don't
podcasting
matter
about
to
something, you got to
me.
talk about things, right? Yeah.
yeah,
um, so we get this setup of the 66 Reno split, which is
what a
that
great name.
the reason why Jim shows up is because he has insurance, which is Wade at the bar talking to Genesis with his gun ready. And then they have a conversation, which is cool the way they play it. Except I let obviously Genesis never figures it out, but I kind of felt like he almost gave it away a little bit at the end, where he was kind of like, "I better get that call," you know. Like, so I was like, "Did he give it away?" But no, he didn't. He didn't
They
give it
killed a
away.
bottle of rum though
Yeah,
during that time.
Oh
they
God
did.
bless
yeah,
them. That was like
God,
me
that's
killing a
like
bottle
you
of
and Ando in
Zambuca and
Portland.
Crown and
yes,
Zambuca going down in one night.
yep,
Um, but
The
you're
good old
right too.
days.
This is a great scene between two great actors act on the phone. Like you can feel them, even
yeah.
though I mean it was not shot at the same time or whatever. He's just sitting there, but the way they go back and forth, you can kind of feel that they were talking to each other. And I like the way it's a callback too to something that they had been through before the 66 Reno split.
Love that,
And
man.
yeah, and it begins the thing like you're talking about, which is that we do this for our kids, right?
Yeah.
Like that's what they talk about. So
Yep.
that theme was brought through the season, and with Luna, we get this happening as well, where they're talking about it right up to the end here. Now, how did you all feel about like them Wade and Jim doing this? Because to me, it did bring up a little ethical, like Jim is kind of our hero here, you know? And I know he needs to protect himself, but Genesis is kind of an innocent person here. We've not really seen her that even that involved in her father's business. So to have her be the one, I wish there was some way they could have set it up where it was her brother, but
I don't
you
think,
know,
well, I don't
they
think they
couldn't
had
have.
a choice.
Yeah.
It was a time crunch. They had to come up with something quick. Now, whether Wade would have pulled the trigger, I'm still on the fence about that. I know he's ready for the gun and whatever. I
Hmm.
honestly, and now if he found out Jim was dead, maybe he probably would have. So I'm going back and forth. That's the thing. That's a great point, Axel, because would he have done it or not? Uh,
Yeah.
Losing his second
It-
son, even though he doesn't know he
and it
didn't
would have
lose his
just been
first son.
revenge too. It would have
Yeah,
just been revenge, right? Like
Yep.
yeah,
he would not have shooting her would not have brought Jim back if his thought process was if he doesn't call me, he's dead, right?
right.
So that's to me why what Sachs did in the end was probably the smart move, right? Like,
Right,
because
right.
he's kind of betting, well, would Wade really kill my kid just because I killed his kid? I mean, is that revenge going to bring his kid back?
I mean, whether or not it was a bluff or not, Sachs was like, I'm
Yeah,
not taking that
yeah,
chance.
Hmm.
yeah.
And
Well, in the end, right, he does decide not to. But that's why I think it's really also just about all the
well, yeah.
relationships we've seen develop. Um, But he also, after he hangs up with Wade, Sachs calls the man in the cowboy hat, and he's like, we got a we got a big fucking problem, and this is where the beginning of the setup where Jim is going to go to Greek Sal, right? And Nina is going to go to the end of Route 73 or 37. Which one was it?
37.
37.
37.
Because
Yep.
in the beginning, I thought they said room 237. And I was like, what is this? Some
Oh, here we
Shining
go.
reference
Um,
here?
Here we go. We're going to the Stephen King
This is
universe.
another
here's Jimmy.
conspiracy. There you
Yeah.
go. I like that. That was good, Solo. The light worked well on your face too.
Yeah.
Oh,
You're giving me a little Jack from Jay and Jack vibes with that shirt too. You know that, Solo?
am I? Oh yeah,
Why?
that's true.
You give me a
It's
little
my
Jack
it's my
Gladfelder
homage to
vibes.
Jack, my boy Jack.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Um.
summertime.
Anyway, what the hell was I
I
talking
don't know.
about?
We're talking about room
Oh, he calls the guy.
66.
So this is right. So she's gonna go down the end of the road. The cowboy hat, calls our nasty FBI Grant, who has been watching Awan and whatnot, but now we know Awan is really watching him, and that sets up our thing, which I thought was a fun way to extend kind of what's happening. Like they don't just kill off our two stars; they've got to use them to appease. And one thing I had forgotten about, which when later Greek Sal reminds us, is that the reason why he's really pissed off at Jim, not just for stealing away his daughter, but for making out with his wife.
Totally forgot
Yeah.
about that. I
Yes.
totally forgot about that. And I'm like, oh, that's right. The broom
He
closet.
grabs him and says, "Keep your hands off my wife."
I mean, we got Mel Gibson, Bring Me Back My Son, and
That
now we have
was
Keep Your Hands Off My Wife.
that was like I forgot about that part. So while it was happening, I was kind of thinking to myself, like, though I wish maybe they had established a little bit, like that son of a bitch made out with my wife, like at the restaurant when he first calls him about the tape,
Oh,
you
right,
know,
right, right. Yeah.
because it would have reminded me why he wants him even more so, right?
Yeah, because I was
Um,
thinking too, I'm like, okay, he messed
yeah,
up the wedding and the trade. I
yeah,
totally forgot about the
exactly.
wife thing. I'm like, really? And then I love the fact that they don't know what's on it because they don't have a reel to reel. Greek Sal doesn't. Because I was like, why would he give this up? So it seems more valuable. So I was wondering, like, do you guys think the trade, do you, I felt maybe Greek Sal was so eager to just trade it for Jim Ellis,
Well,
but
and the Jim thing too, there was kind of implied earlier, like when we first meet Sal and his guys. Sal's guys are saying things like, "Oh, it's fucking Jim Ellis. I hate that guy." So like it's been implied that they have a
Yes, yeah,
long
yeah.
history of
Right,
screwing with
right.
each other. So I think that played a
Okay.
big part in it. That's my guess,
That's
anyways.
true. No,
And
I like that,
they
Andy.
probably didn't
Yeah.
think that it was that. Who? Why would you think that it's something that
Really,
huge? Like
that's
even they're
true.
like, "What is that? The new Roy Orbison?" I think was the
Yeah.
line that he said. So like that's as big as they're thinking. Big picture as they're
You
thinking. They're
know,
not thinking world changing type shit.
you know what, that again, that's a great point, Ando, because it's 1972.
Mhm.
They don't have a lot of knowledge like we do now, where we're like, that
Yeah.
guy's an FBI agent, that guy's a serial killer. Like then it's just
Mhm.
kind of like, hey man.
Yeah. Do
So
whatever you want. Yeah.
I mean, it's an exchange, okay, but but yet, yeah, their mind doesn't go there. Oh, that's the
Mhm.
Nixon. How would they know?
Yeah. Why
You
would
know,
you think that?
you
That's
wouldn't think anything. But I guess as a businessman, I'd be like, if two guys are meeting in a dark place, with a suitcase, this has got to be valuable to somebody. But then he trades that value to get what he wanted. So I guess
Mhm.
in all,
Yes. Yeah.
it makes sense. Yeah.
Yeah. Value is only what somebody's willing to pay for it. So it doesn't necessarily
100%.
mean that it's yeah. So yeah, that stuff's all it's that whole thing, that whole sequence was good too. It was all I love the whole phone and we don't haven't really talked about it. He has a cell phone. In
Yeah.
1973 has and
Oh,
I looked at it in 1972. I looked it up here. The first commercial available cell phones were 1973. So this was even before that took place and that whole sequence of him making all those calls back to back to back and the phone keep ringing and I also want to call out when if you watch it again the score most of the time we've talked about the needle drops the score in that segment that 5-10 minute stretch is really great. The musical composer that and I wrote her name down. I can't remember what it is anymore, but she does a really great like we mentioned her briefly at the beginning of the season, but the score there is really good too. But just the intercutting of the like cowboy guy, I'll call you right back, and the phone rings right away, and it's Howard Hughes, and then
Yeah.
Howard hangs up, and then it's the cowboy guy calling right back, and it's just I loved all that whole sequence was great, just cool filmmaking.
Yeah. And Billy is getting really violent with our boy Jim. He really has been saving it up.
yeah.
Kicks him, hits him with the bat. It was like, Flea, calm down there,
I
man. He needs to
know.
go
I was like, under the
put
bridge, at least hit him
it's
there, but not,
serious. It was
wide
like
open.
blood, sugar, sex, magic was happening.
Take
Whoa, at the coffee
take the
shop,
higher
but
ground, Billy. Come on.
whoa, hey,
Exactly.
oh.
Well, I think
Exactly.
at one time he asked, "Can I just shoot him in the leg?" Like he asked him if he
Yeah.
could
That was
shoot Jim
awesome.
in the leg.
Okay, that was the line that I forgot to
Yes.
write down. 'Cause let me just shoot. He just wants to shoot. Like, I'm like, is he jealous of Jim? Because I felt like all that, like, because I always thought,
Yeah.
he wanted to be the top dog and whatever. But man, he's just been waiting to,
Hmm.
you
Well,
know,
it's because he knew he was going out this episode, so he was like, "Fuck this, man. I'm going ape shit on this episode. I'm having fun." And he accomplished it. I liked it. I think it worked because it upped the the tone, right? Like
Hmm.
one thing about this episode is and I think why it starts off with the waterboarding is because this show is kind of like a 70s fun action romp. But we have to have stakes, right? So the tone has to kind of get ramped up a little bit here in this episode
right.
where we fear for the lives of our heroes and the people we've come to know throughout the season. And I think that Billy accomplishes that a lot. Now that I think about it, through the yelling and everything, see, now he's convinced me it worked. It actually ended up working because it
Yeah.
got me ramped up. Like he's
Yeah.
kicking him, he's getting upset. He's like, can I shoot him?
Yeah.
Like,
And I love the double trunks open. I don't know what it was.
yeah.
It's something simple that I'm like, that's so cool.
That was
And
great.
yes, I
Uh,
love this too. This is also it's great writing too for me because it's like it also echoes it's parallel to the season itself that we saw episodes where we saw Jim do one thing and Nina go on her journey, and then here again they're trying to split them up.
Yeah.
That's why I can only think that like the second season is like them together all the time.
Well,
you know
we may have that when we get to it.
I hope we get
mhm.
our second season. We'll see. We have
Special task force.
no word yet. um but we uh we start off we go back and forth between what's happening in the desert and also Jim and Sax having a conversation, him reiterating that he did not kill Joey, and just basically their history. But at the same time, we have kind of Nina's whole journey where she gets dropped off at the end of the highway by Billy. The keys are thrown. Um, she's just about to find the keys. She looks up who's there, of course, our friend, ready to shoot her. They run
Our
around.
friend. He's
Our
not
friend.
our friend. We don't like.
Yeah,
We don't like
Agent Grant. We've never liked
Agent
him.
Grant. I
No.
liked all of this. I liked the blocking and how she's hiding underneath the brush.
Hmm.
It of course gave me Breaking Bad vibes because
Yeah,
anybody
that's what it
knows.
was. Yes, it gave me a little of that too.
I thought a lot of No Country for Old Men as well. I mean, partially just because
Oh,
I just
yeah.
watched that here a month or so ago for the first time in a long time, but it
Yeah.
gave me a lot of those vibes, that whole sequence, and it had a kind of this episode did have a lot of Coen brothers, the dark Coen brothers films had kind of that feeling too. I thought too a little bit on this
Hmm.
vibe. So
Right.
So we're leading up to our showdown. Of course, Awan shows up. They have a touching moment.
yeah, the hero
And
moment that was I
yes,
love that. I
yeah,
was cheering for that. I
yeah.
like Iwan.
You love
That's
Awan.
there
That's
I
is
know
your
his
that's your
Superman.
guy. That's
he's
your
one of
His
my
guy.
favorites.
Superman
Yeah,
moment. Yeah, he
he's one of
is.
he's my
Great
guy.
character. I agree, Ando. I like him very much.
I think Josh Holloway's Duster just drove by. I don't know if you guys heard that, but my God, wheels were squealing.
Is
No,
Josh
that was
coming
a
on the
great.
pod quick? Guest
Come
appearance?
on, Josh, we're waiting for you, buddy.
Yeah,
Everybody, we
I
want
might
that's
faint.
our off season. Our season between season 1 and 2, like we used to plan with Lost, right? What are we
Oh
doing in the
man,
off
what
season?
if we do in the
Yeah.
off season? And when
Um,
a new pod would come up, we'd get
yeah,
so excited because, of
I
course, you
know.
plan and it doesn't happen, but you're like, oh,
Yeah, there
the
you go,
intermission,
baby.
the transmission.
Um, but also we have kind of like a great release by Nina where she's so thankful. She gives Awan a hug and she just kind of really squeezes him, like she's so
Hmm.
hot, and she just kind of releases all that tension of thinking she was going to die, just giving it up, telling
Right,
Sax
right.
everything. And then, though, she realizes she snaps back in, and for the first time in this episode, she becomes the Nina we know throughout the season. And she's like, "We got to go get Jim." And she jumps into the car
Now,
and
do you
starts
think she should
racing
have taken
back.
a? I was like, take Owen with you. Who cares what happened with Grant? We'll deal with him
Yeah,
later.
yeah.
But
I felt that too, and it makes you wonder, like logistically, I guess
Well,
they're
I have an
just kind
answer.
of
I have an
thinking,
answer for that because
okay,
what happens if somebody comes across that body? All of a sudden, there's a FBI agent that's found dead out in the middle of the desert. That's going to cause a huge,
that's true.
like
That's
all the
true.
other
okay,
agents and all the other that was kind of what my thought is they
It
have to
makes
deal with that
sense.
immediately. But
It makes sense, but I think I agree with Solo. If you're sitting there writing it, you could be like, he hops in the car. We'll take care. Nobody, let the coyotes eat him, right? And then
yeah,
or we'll figure it out later,
we'll figure out later.
you
We got
know?
pressing issues. That's
But
all.
then you
But
but
think about Awan being involved in the last scene. All
yeah,
it does is just add another person of tension. You don't want them to get shot, and also he he's not recognizable to Sax's guys as being part of their team. So if he shows up with
yeah,
Nina, they might start shooting at him thinking she brought all the FBI with her.
yeah,
It's not just her coming to help Jim. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah,
that's
and
why even when she arrived, I was kind of like, Billy might start trying to shoot her, but he didn't. Because she started helping immediately.
yeah.
They
right.
saw, but he was dead pretty soon
And
anyway.
I think he also said
Pretty
he
dead
want
already.
Awan wanted to take her to the hospital. She maybe realized too that
Yes.
if I
Yeah.
stay here, he's going to drag me to the hospital. I'm not going to be able
Oh,
to.
that's a good
Yeah.
point too. Yeah,
That's
yeah.
the one thing I had in my notes here when you were talking about how like she gave him the hug and I have Nina looks wore out And that I think that's really what this
Yes.
by
Yep.
that point
Yep.
in the episode, she
Yeah.
just looks so it's just an amazing acting
That's
job
what
here
I
too.
mean. And it was really good acting because you could see her just release
Yeah.
everything, right? Like, oh
Hmm.
Yep.
God, what a day. And it actually reminded me as a viewer, wow, she really has been through a lot. Like she was handcuffed, waterboarded. She faced the guy she had been going after this whole season, but for many years before,
Hmm.
right? Because we're reminded of the opening flashback. So it really that was really a culmination of it all. I was Billy taking the shot to the eye was,
Safe to
I
say he
mean,
is not coming back.
no.
Yeah, no, I don't think
Well,
so. Well,
could he though?
I think
Because
he
if we,
opens a bar called One Eye Jack's in Canada.
there you go.
Um,
Or he could become a cyborg. What usually when
Yeah.
people get shot in the eye,
Oh,
right?
I have one other Billy note too here. Back when the trunk shot with the two opening going in the trunk, and when he makes his entrance, it's very Eli Roth and Inglorious Bastards because you
Yeah.
hear the baseball bat hitting the
Yep.
concrete
Yep.
floor before you see Billy, and I thought that was a fun little scene too, even though it was a few seconds. But yeah, sorry.
I like it.
I was thinking of
No.
more Jimmy McNulty being the beat cop again in The
Oh,
Wire,
Oh
but
there
yeah,
you
yeah,
go.
I like that too.
Fuck. Fuck.
I
One
forgot
of the
he hits
greatest
Nina
scenes of
on the head
TV
with that
ever.
baseball bat too a couple times.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah, he's ramping it up and he gets it in the eye. This was a star turn in this episode for him. And he goes out like a champ. I was sad to see it. I actually yelled. I was like, "Billy, oh shit. Oh no." I was like, "Holy shit." I was actually way more surprised when he got taken out than when Sax eventually gets shot. We talked about that already, the decision that he makes. But I want to say the blocking for the whole thing, the whole location that they chose was really cool. Was that had we seen that location? Or I was wondering if that
I don't think
we had
so.
been
It's
there earlier
he calls it the Providence
inside.
Rail Yard, and I don't have
Oh,
that
okay.
not in
name
this
anywhere in
show.
my notes. Yeah.
But it did remind me. I couldn't place it. Other shows in the past that have that. I'm thinking of one right now, and I can't even. I know I see it,
It
and I
had the
can't.
good
But
look too
Yeah, all
in
the
that
broken
time
windows in the
period. Yeah.
background and all that stuff.
oh,
Yeah.
yeah, remind me of American Rust. In that show American Rust.
Oh,
There's
yeah.
like a little set piece, kind of like that,
Interesting. I
I
remember
believe
that.
where a murder takes place. That kind of brought me back to that for whatever reason. And again, it's not like, oh, they stole it from American Rust. No, it's just that picking the perfect locations is so
Yeah.
key. And this
Yeah.
is the kind of cool place where it's in the middle of nowhere. If you're going to torture someone, well, it's the meat. I'm talking about the other one, but then this one with the meat, yeah, we're not going to meet in public. Uh,
There's
but
a when they first get to that rail yard, when Sax and Jim first get to there too, before everybody else shows up. There's a super cool quick shot of Sax getting out of the duster, like just arrive, and he just
Yeah.
makes him look like such a badass. And I have to
And
mention
he
too, his outfit in this with those plaid pants. That's how cool he is. He can pull off plaid pants and looks like a badass. It's just so damn cool. Keith David.
Yep.
Man, I hope he
Yep.
does. I hope he's back.
uh,
Um, so yeah, we get the shootout. I love the way it went down. It was very cool. And the survivors of the shootout now, Roy survives, Jim survives, Nina survives. That's it, right? Just those three. I think are the only three alive at the end.
Yeah, and the guy that takes the tape.
Oh, right. So the guy takes the tape.
mhm.
Now we can. That is the last thing that that is kind of the last thing that happened. Oh no, it is actually the very
Yeah,
last thing that
the very
happens.
last thing is the guys with the tape. Yeah.
But I
No, well,
like
the shot of them, no, Nina and Jim is the
No,
final thing.
the last shot is
is
them
the
say
tape.
the last
Oh
line
yeah,
is
you're right. You're right. You guys are
yep.
watching it and I'm not.
Yeah.
Okay.
Um,
Well, no, I don't have it on now,
right.
but
Oh,
that's yeah.
Either.
I do have that. I made sure to
oh,
make
okay. Yeah, yeah,
my
yeah.
notes. Yeah.
But
And I just watched that. Shows you what I know.
I like the way that it furthers this whole thing we've been talking about like creating this multiverse here of this town, right? Where where a guy could be like a Mexican guy who works with Mad Raul, but that day he was working
Yeah, and
for
that's
Greek
I didn't
Sal.
quite catch all that until the second time I watched it,
Yeah.
where like is he like an undercover guy for Mad Raoul working with Sal to
I think he's
I
just maybe a guy
or a
who,
freelancer or
yeah, he's like a
okay.
freelance. Yeah, he's a
Yeah.
thug. You
Yeah.
know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
He's thug too.
He's the
And
guy
he,
that people go to when they need certain
Yeah, when we need
arrangements and
extra, we need more
like Jim's
muscle,
a
you go hire
driver.
him.
Hey,
Yeah.
Jim was going to
yeah.
work for Mad Raoul, right?
Yep.
So this guy brings it there. You know what I'm saying? He might not necessarily be Mad Raoul's guy, but he knows that the other guy is, as we
Hmm.
know too.
Yeah.
And he brings it to him. So I thought that was kind of cool because it took me a second too, like because they're speaking Spanish to each other. And then I was like, oh, okay, I get it. He's like a mercenary that kind of knows I'm going to bring this important thing
I was
to
kind of
him.
hoping we were going to see the Blade again. I can't remember what his first name is, but that
Oh
cool
yeah.
Blade guy. But I like. I shouldn't go back. You know what though? Because I said I liked how this episode didn't have all the extra new characters.
Yeah,
It just had everybody. So I'll stick with this. But
yeah.
hopefully we see him soon.
So for our coda, uh, we get a kind of a double take on each of our characters, right? We see Jim and Nina together, but we get the conversation with Jim and Izzy and why he's got to stick around for Luna because she has cancer. I am going to tell you that I told my wife I was going to say this on the podcast, so I have to say it. But when she said he's my oncologist, it took me a second because I was like, wait a second, is oncologist mean she's pregnant?
Oh God!
Yeah,
And I
his
didn't know for
What did your
a
wife
gyneco.
say
second.
when you said that?
She said that doesn't surprise me at all. And I said, no, would that be gynecology? No, I don't know. That's
Yeah.
obstetrician. Obstetrician.
Well, a
What?
gynecologist does
Yes.
examine
The undercarriage,
cases.
the under
Yes, yes,
area.
The
yes.
outdoor carriage. Yeah,
Oh, kid
there you go.
show. Hey, oh.
Hey oh.
But listen, we don't want to get Evan too excited, guys. Um, but what we're talking about here is so this scene is very moving. Josh Holloway's been amazing in this whole episode, and this too, again tonally, giving him a reason for staying, not just taking off, running away.
Right.
And then we go to Abbott giving up his information to Nina. There is a conspiracy. I've known
Yes.
about it the entire time.
I
Confirms
know.
it. Yes.
Yeah,
I was like, my
oh,
brother knew.
yeah,
I was like,
exactly. And his wife knew too. That's why she was following Nina on Twitter and cheering her along. Well, Instagram, maybe Blue Sky, probably Blue Sky, not Twitter. They are not on Twitter.
It's definitely
Um,
Instagram.
yeah, definitely Instagram. Especially with those outfits too from a couple episodes ago, those boots.
Hmm.
But so we as we're going back and forth, and then they meet together, and we have this idea that she is going to be doing this task force to get to the heart of this conspiracy, and she wants Jim to
There's
join
another
the
great needle
task
drop here
force.
while they're doing this too. It's
oh,
Isn't It a Pity by George Harrison.
Georgia.
Yeah.
And
Oh,
Awesome too.
yes.
it's one of my favorites. And of course, the great Eddie Vedder, when he on his Earthlings tour, they played it live, and it was like,
Hmm.
Wow.
so
Hmm.
Eddie does an amazing cover of this
Oh, I can
song.
hear it
But
in my head right now. Him
Yeah.
singing
this
that.
in a room at the top for like 2 years, I played constantly. Like I just love those
Oh,
two.
wow. Yeah, that's
Tom
awesome.
Petty, A Room at the
Yeah, this
Top,
was a
and then Eddie
great
did that
Yes.
too.
song.
So that's why.
Yeah.
But
You
yeah,
know what I was going to point out, guys, because it happened twice in this episode, but we talk a lot about the needle drop, meaning that the song begins. But
right.
there's also the art of the needle pull or lift, which this show does expertly as
Oh,
well, which
Yep.
the
is that the song
transitions or the yeah.
stops,
Yep.
right? Or the song transitions from outside the realm, from soundtrack to the realm, what's that called, exegesis to, so I can't remember what it's called, but anyway, from the perspective of it being part of the soundtrack to being inside the show, someone
Yeah.
listening to
In
Yeah,
the
the
the car
show,
show.
because it
Yep.
and then
stops
it
when the car. Yeah.
stops,
Yep.
right? So that is also just as valuable, and that's why I love the use of music throughout this entire season, because like, isn't it a pity, right? Like, that song, you're listening to that song and you're getting the mood and the vibe, but it's not it's not like discreetly describing what's happening on the screen. It's giving you a mood and it's propelling you and pulling you into what's happening. And I felt that way, but also with the way they stop the music is just as important as the way they start it. I just,
I
that was
like the
something that
needle,
occurred to me as I was watching
the
it.
reverse needle drop. I like that,
Yeah.
Yeah,
Axel.
reverse needle drop. Yes,
Because you got to think about that.
yeah,
Like if you're a
for sure.
music, if this is what you do, if you're Matt Murdock or something, and this is what you do, you don't only think about how it starts, but how it fades in, fades out, how it stops.
Right.
And that's just as important. So then we get the final setup before the end kind of stinger, which could have been a credit scene with the Mad Raoul thing. But with basically setting up a season two, it seems where it would be Jim and Nina on a
Well,
task
and
force. Do you think Jim would join the FBI? Would he just continue to? I mean, is
there's
Royce taking over the? What's happening?
well before we get to that,
Oh,
there's some interesting lines on the Nina and Jim when they're talking,
oh,
and
okay.
she says Xavier is a national threat.
Mm.
National threat sounds a lot higher up than just some thugs in New Mexico
And that's
or
your
Arizona.
brother.
Oh,
Yeah.
yes, that's what we forgot too. We
Yes.
forgot the biggest reveal. That. Thank you, Ando. See, this is why
And
there's three of us here.
this is
That's his brother.
my one complaint with this show, this episode, is when she says that and he says, "Oh shit." Why couldn't he said son of a bitch? This would have been the perfect
Yeah.
time to drop. It would have been an amazing Easter egg for us lost people, but that's my only minor complaint, very minor complaint,
Yeah,
but I thought the scene was great.
I want to drop this with you, and just because again, I just recently saw it, so I'm still thinking through this. Finding out your brother's alive and is Xavier and could be a threat, and you just shake your head and do a shot. Like I felt I needed more there in that instance. Like, but I know you don't want to end necessarily
Well,
on a side, but like I felt
and
like,
he's
why isn't he more outraged or
yeah,
I
and
think he was
he's
shocked. To me, it was
just
total
shock?
shock. Dude, think about all they had been through that day,
Okay,
right?
okay, yep,
And they're coming to the end of the day. He literally not only
this wasn't that
did,
day though. This was later
because he was in a
because
vest and
because
everything.
she gets debriefed from Abbott, and then and he's like, I didn't think I would see you again. This is late. This is a couple, at least a day after
okay,
this.
but
So not
still,
immediately, but
but
yeah,
still,
Yeah, yeah.
they almost got killed. He found out
yeah,
that the mother of his daughter has cancer. He's thinking he can't leave, but he wants to because
there's a
he's got to
lot.
stay now for her. Now she's telling him about a task force and all that, and it's because your brother's alive and he's this guy Xavier. It's just, I think it's
I
just a
would have just
mind
jumped.
blown.
I would have
And
just
Yeah,
jumped and screw
yeah.
this. I'm out.
he's friends with Howard Hughes, and now he's kind of Sax's boss, I think. What's happening
Yeah.
here? He's pulling
Oh
all the
yeah, the
strings.
organization. Like what?
How that's why I'm like, how
Oh,
is all
that's a good
this?
point. What is that? Why he's got the vest on? No, but
That's I don't. Yeah, how does all that? There's so,
But
I've been
also
turning
the
that in my
thing
head for like
is,
3 days. It's like because
I guess
Sax is
Royce.
like, and even when Xavier's name is brought up, like when he's talking to the cowboy guy Sax, and he's like, Xavier sends his best, and you see the reaction in Keith David's face is like almost like he's worried or he's scared or he's like, I'll give, and like he gets nervous and like why. How did he get to be at working for Sax to become this boogeyman character? I don't know. It's I want to see a second season a lot because the Xavier thing is fascinating.
yes.
Oh no, they could do a lot with Xavier and not cast Patrick Stewart, please. He played Xavier enough. Um, no, but sorry, I was trying to get a Axel to.
That
Oh,
would be
there it is.
really
There it
that
is.
would be really weird
It
casting
would be a
if that
bold
was Josh
choice.
Hence
Holloway's
why I
brother.
said it.
That would be very interesting.
But no, he's older than Corbin Burnson, probably. Uh, no, just
Yeah,
because
he
his name is
definitely is.
Xavier.
Definitely is
Xavier
It's
older.
like
X-Men.
He's like
That's why I
80.
said it.
I
Yeah,
know.
no, I wasn't being serious. X-Men
Solo
reference.
Solo needs another weed soda.
I'm out.
Oh
I need
shit!
more.
Here,
No, this is normal
here, take a gummy.
exhaustion.
Take a gummy. I took one about 20 minutes ago, as you could
Good
tell.
for you. Good for you. That's good. Yeah. Well, no, well, it's tough because it's like we don't know. You're the same all the time.
Whoa!
Oh, there you go.
Yeah,
Gummo.
that's there you go.
Um,
Yeah.
so
What
it's a
was I? The hell was
shock.
I saying?
It's a shock.
Okay.
Yes.
All right. It felt. No, it's really nitpicky. It's not, doesn't
Yeah.
ruin anything
Well, it
for
was
me.
delivered. I kind of like, to me, the delivery too was a bit of a throwback too. It was fun. It was like the end of the episode at the last moment, right? We're going to tell you this the guy we've been looking for. That's your brother, but you know what I'm saying? Like,
I guess I
so
expected
I
more
thought
of
it was fun.
a
And
look and
I guess too,
Do, 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 do.
thinking about this season too, anytime he's had something major come up, he basically has kind of rolled with it. And he's like, okay, well, I guess we got to fix this problem now. So
That's who he
you know,
I
is.
guess
that's a
that's
good point. That's a good point too.
Yeah. We'll see.
Uh,
Well,
believe me, it's not a big
that
deal.
brings us to the end, guys. That's the end of the
So they're going
episode.
to bring the tape to Mad Raoul.
Yep.
We
Bring the
haven't
tape to
met
Matt
Mad
Raoul.
Raoul, so we got two big casting possibilities.
Oh, you know it's going to
For
be
Xavier.
Danny Trejo. What do you think?
I'm not a
No,
fan of that just because he's already associated with too many.
I told you Raymond
I like
Cruz
that. Okay.
Tuco. For those of you who don't know
Oh,
his
Tuco,
name,
yeah.
Raymond Cruz.
How
That's who I
about a
thought was on the
little?
phone. Remember?
How about Jimmy Smits? A little L.A. Law
Jimmy,
reunion.
Jimmy Smith.
Jimmy Smith, L.A.
How
That'd be
about
good.
Benicio del Toro?
Oh
Ah,
shit! Come on, yeah.
well, that would be.
Yeah, my dream casting is that, and for Xavier, the perfect plant man to play Josh Holloway's brother would be Matthew McConaughey, I think,
I was just gonna say
That
that.
would be good.
because it's
That
got
would
to
be
be
good.
somebody that's super charming, but that can also be threatening.
If Don Johnson was younger, I would say go with
Oh,
Don Johnson.
yeah, that would be good too.
I think also the guy who was in Rescue Me, who was so good in Rescue Me, and now he does those commercials where he's like, you want something bad to happen, and then he gets fucked up. The car insurance
The guy
commercial.
from 30 Rock, he was also in 30 Rock.
Oh, I guess he was in 30 Rock
Law and
too.
Order
Yeah.
SVU. You mean
Yeah, he's
Mayhem?
in
Mayhem?
everything. Yeah. He's Mayhem. Yes, that's right.
I thought Josh Brolin could be good at that
Yeah,
role in that role too.
not Dean Winter. He's one of
And
the Winters.
I don't know. I think we got to go more for TV actor here. Let's see.
Yeah,
Who else can we get?
I mean, McConaughey is True Detective. It's not like he hasn't done
That's
TV
true.
before.
That's true. That's true.
Okay, so how about this? Even though he's younger than Josh Holloway, Walton Goggins.
That would be fun.
He's a
That'd be
Southern
very fun.
actor with that Southern accent, and
And just
he can be
brothers. None,
charming
he
and
doesn't look
scary.
like it
That's the
would be
thing.
his
He doesn't.
brother.
They don't look like. That's the
I mean, Len looks more like Josh
yeah
Holloway than yeah, but you don't want someone too big. As much as those are
yeah
great choices, you don't want anyone
yeah
too big because Jim's still our guy.
yeah. You don't
Um,
want him to be overshadowed. I
it's gotta
totally agree.
it's gotta complement him.
Hmm.
Someone he'd look up to, someone respect. You know what? With casting, ever since they cast me at Abbott's brother, they do a great job.
That's
So
true.
I'm gonna
That's
let
true.
yeah,
Well, and they're the
I'm gonna let
experts, and
Kim
everything is
Coleman
yeah.
make the. I did read
So,
for Kim Coleman like 15 years ago
oh, nice.
for a Kevin Hart show.
Nice.
Yeah, but
Interesting.
well, I never got called back, so I don't know.
All right. Well, we
Maybe
thought you did a
maybe
good job, Solo.
Thanks.
the tape you never saw.
So, will Duster be renewed? Now, obviously, there is a lot of turmoil in all of the streamers. Some of our other shows, we cover Mayor of Kingstown, and that might be the last season of that because they're supposedly pulling back at Paramount Plus. Now, there is the good thing that this weekend HB or Max becomes HBO Max again, but this is kind of like a Max show, right? So when you look at a lot of the marketing material, it says Max, not HBO. So it makes me wonder where this is going to fall as far as if it's considered to be like a HBO show or if it's in the streaming budget. I don't know. I guess it all
Oh,
comes down to
I see
money.
what you're saying because I just
You know what I'm
assumed it's
saying?
like an HBO show, but it's not
Right.
it's technically not.
They're
That's
calling
right.
it a Max show. So I don't
Hmm.
Because
know if
the
that has to
credits
do
were
with the deal.
did they always do that in the beginning before? Because I didn't think they were going credits because it said a Max original on
Right.
screen and something else.
See,
Was that new or did they always do that?
they've done that with shows that are only on Max because there is
Right.
some that are still like
Exactly.
Peacemaker, Hacks, The
Yeah.
Pit. Those are
They make
all
a distinction.
No,
those
no,
are
no, no. I meant the choice of putting that credit.
Oh no, it's there. It's there
mhm.
every episode.
Oh, it is.
Yeah,
Oh,
the
okay.
Max
Every
original thing.
episode.
Yep.
Yep.
Oh, okay.
So I
That's
don't
why
know
we
what
have
that
two
means
guys like that.
though, because I will say
Yeah.
this. I'm a fan of HGTV, and that is getting like hollowed out. Like all these shows have been
Oh,
canceled.
sorry.
HGTV is home and home,
No,
you know.
I'm just, you know me and
I
the
know you don't
reality. I'm
like
just
reality,
messing with.
but
I'm
it's not
just.
really even reality. It's like
Well, I call
House
everything that's
Hunters, and
not narrative
yeah.
reality.
So, but that just
I do
shows
too,
that
Solo. Don't feel bad.
Thank you.
maybe they're not, maybe they're only pulling back from that stuff because that's a television network, that's a cable network.
Yeah.
Anyway, I would hope that because maybe JJ's involvement in the show helps keep it alive, give it another season. But I would say at this point in time, I would, my, not having read anything or heard anything, I would say it's pretty up in the air because,
Well, and this I've noticed throughout the season, especially when I do rewatches, I'll always try to when I'm trying to find it because sometimes it doesn't make it easy after you've watched the first time. Duster, like tonight when I was looking at it a little bit before we were going on, Duster is still like number three on the top 10 most watched
yes,
shows
that's
on
true.
Max. When the season started, it was hanging around that 9 or 10, or it wasn't even listed after a couple days. So if it's hanging on, that leads me to believe more people are
It's been
watching it now.
high. I think it's
Yeah,
gotten more and more viewership.
that's
I
what I'm
think.
that's what I'm thinking too. And I've heard more when I look at articles online at AV Club or Variety or something that now
Mhm.
they're starting to be more comments on articles. There wasn't any comments on articles before, so I don't know if it's enough to keep it going, but hopefully it is.
It's coming back. I'm telling you right now.
I'm trying to see if there's any ratings because they do now. Nielsen does streaming ratings,
Hmm.
but I'm not seeing anything.
Oh, we have it. I didn't see it. I wonder how long this has been here. We have a comment from Grandpa James, Axel, and he says, "I see you, Axel, hiding that smoke."
Oh, hello.
And he also confirms it's Marvin Gaye that sings Trouble Man.
Yeah, well, I was wrong. I didn't know it. God damn it.
He's out to make your life a living hell tonight, Axel. That's what it is.
Let's see. It was
Oh,
expensive. Let's see. I'm trying to find some. I got something.
I could
Oh no,
also
this is
see this
Hulu.
show. Maybe it doesn't come back like this time next year. It could come back at some point. Um, That's the one thing. That's the one thing I don't like. We get better quality shows now, but the whole like I do miss 3 months off in the summer, and then your shows come back. I do
Yeah.
miss that feeling of the fall and all your shows are coming back. It's so different now because it's year round and
Yeah,
it's
where this
different
aired in the
times.
summer and it may come back in January of 27 or something. Yeah.
Yeah, so
Yeah.
that I do miss that old school. I know life's changed and the medium has changed, but I do like kind of miss those old days of
And
wow, we come right back.
hopefully they don't make the decision right away because if they're wavering on it, because I do think this is a show the word of mouth is gonna be great, and I think it's gonna be a great binging show for sure. It's gonna be one of those shows you just keep watching because it's so damn fun.
It's gonna be definitely one of those shows, especially if people don't know about it.
Hmm.
They go on and they go, I just want something fun. I need something that, I want to laugh and want to, I mean, not that you would know that until you watch it, but like I do that. Like when me and my wife are ready, you know what? I need a popcorn fun show. This is better than popcorn fun, but you know what I mean? Like I need to take
And
a break from serial killers and
well, and
have
it's
some
also a
fun.
show, just like I know you guys get the same thing. People are asking you because we do this kind of a show all the time. People are asking us, "What do you watch? What should I watch?" And normally I have to qualify or know who I'm talking to. This is a show I can almost, I mean, unless you're
You
10
can
years
tell
old,
anybody.
you can say, "Hey, watch this show. Watch this show." I don't have to be careful. Like I can't tell everybody to watch Mindhunter because some people are not going to want to watch
They'll be
Mindhunter.
like, Andrew, I
But
couldn't sleep for 3 months because of
yeah,
you.
but this show you can tell anybody. That's why I think the word of mouth I think will really grow. So hopefully, if it's on
I
the verge
hope
of
so.
cancellation, hopefully they
But
wait a while before they make that
that's
decision.
And also, but that's the problem though, Andy. We know at this point in time, it used to be that if a television show, if people watched it, that meant that they could charge more money for advertising,
Yep.
which meant that they would say, let's give it another season because TV exists so we can put the ads on, right?
Yep.
But with a show like this, people, it could get good critical reviews, it could get decent numbers, and then they'd just cancel it because it was a Max show under a different umbrella, and now they want to do a different type of, or they keep it on because of the deal they have. So
Well,
we're just gonna have to wait and see until we get the
I could
news, and
see someone
maybe
else picking this up, another streamer,
and
if
I think one other good thing
I don't
which
know if
too
could
they
is
be a
so
can.
possibility.
when you said Solo too about they're probably not going to get Matthew McConaughey or somebody that might be to their advantage because Matthew
Because
McConaughey, if he
he's
was
going to be
signed,
very
he's
expensive.
well, and he's
Yeah.
booked solid. These
Well, yeah.
actors are probably easier to retain on contract. They're not going to be as much to keep them on standby and all this stuff, so that maybe that would be
Yeah.
in its favor
Especially the
too.
uncertainty too of are we coming back or whatnot. I mean,
Hmm.
they're not going to start casting those roles. They may have people in mind on their short list, but
Well,
they're
they
not going to
already
Yeah,
start
cast
casting.
Abbott's brother, I heard, but
Well, but
that's that
that's that.
was
We got to keep that under
that
that's
wraps.
on the down low.
Latoya
but
doesn't want me to, you know,
that's what I was
tell
saying. We
people.
had invited Latoya to come on. If the show is renewed, we'd love to have her on to talk about the season and her hopes for season two. If the show is not renewed at some point when she is available to, or it's either maybe sold somewhere else or something, we'd love to have her on and talk about that as well because if even if it's not renewed, I haven't enjoyed these 8 episodes. I have enjoyed talking about it with you two. It was awesome to talk to Latoya as well. We got a lot of feedback on I did create that Facebook page for fellow Duster fans to talk about what they thought, and we did get, in the end, we ended up with like 100 or so people in our group there. Um, Left some replies, which I'm trying to babble as I get to them. As we get to the end of the pod, I thought it would be nice to mention some people who had some positive and good things to say about the show. And as soon as Facebook loads, I can't even see
Load
Heath's face
film
right now.
now.
Oh, Kevin
Load
says, what a
film.
great twist. The reveal of who Xavier was. That was epic. I didn't see that one coming. My only disappointment was that I was sure that Nina would end up being Ezra's daughter.
Yeah. Oh,
Remember?
remember? Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. I still wonder if the guy from DC will end up being Awan's estranged father. Hopefully, we'll get a second season. Great show. We forgot about that
And
awesome.
we didn't talk about it. Were you guys surprised that Xavier was the brother? I actually was kind of surprised. I'm actually surprised we didn't. I don't think that ever came up as a theory that we
No,
had.
I
No,
had a
no.
feeling he was out there, but I thought
Yeah,
he'd be more CIA or that
yeah,
route, not the whole Xavier route. Now,
yeah.
we
That
don't know the
surprised me.
extent of
Yeah,
it. As much as Xavier could be a national threat, we don't know if there's something even bigger, like planting someone to be a
and
criminal in order
and
to
why he
infiltrate
wants the
somewhere.
tape, why he wants those tapes, and
Yeah.
what's on the tape exactly. And yeah, there's a lot of cool questions. If
Well,
we
we
get
heard it got a little
yeah,
racy there on there.
Now
I'm
yeah,
like,
that
about
was
the war. Yeah,
I like this stuff they talked when they played the tape. I thought that was fun because that was stuff that the dirt that Nixon that some people had. I mean, it's not just on that tape, but people have said that Nixon would do that stuff on purpose, like try to create some sort of
yeah.
race war or these like be able to target America's anger at different racial groups to distract them from what was going on,
Hmm.
with Vietnam and also with Watergate. So I thought that that's interesting. Patricia, Curtis, Ashley, Daniel, some of the other people who said they love the finale and want a second season. Thomas says the same thing. Humanizer, Ken. Just want to give some people their names: Aaron, Craig, Lee, Lori, Roger. Some folks that joined in on that Duster on Max page, and you can also join our daily DVR at TV and film group on Facebook. And please subscribe to Daily DVR because you'll also hear just recently, as I said, Daily DVR TV and Film Group. It reminds me of every film list in which Solo and Ando remember that or have to look that up, what the name of the Facebook group is. And I
Yeah,
did just release another film list, and we are happy that more film lists will be coming soon as well.
are we? Are we happy?
I love them. Even though I've heard, like, I will get an hour into it and I'll be like, I think I heard this one before. Oh, wait, I did. Oh, I don't care. I'm listening to it
Oh,
again.
yeah, no, me and Andel was going to start recording again, I'm sure. I mean, we got
Yes,
some in the
very soon.
bank, but
Yep.
yeah,
Well, yeah, I have like
and maybe even one
four
live.
more, I think.
I think you have three more yet in the can.
Wow, we have
I think
three in
I
the
effed
can.
up when when I have to change. I'll do that later. I'll do that tomorrow when I release this pod. But I put the wrong films in the show notes.
The wrong numbers.
Oh,
Yeah,
you
the wrong
did?
numbers. I always get confused with the up and the down. It's like we're going down,
I
so
know
it's
that's why we have
confusing.
Ando because I'm the same. I'll be like
I
coming in
know.
at 767 and Ando's like at 764. I'm
Yeah.
like, oh,
But you can listen to that, folks. Listen, this has been a great season. Solo, your final words, Duster, all that jazz. Tell us.
I'm glad it finally got here because it had been talked about for a while. What a fun show. I looked forward to it every Thursday. Loved podcasting with you guys. And again, I'm sure we'll all, but thank you again to Latoya for coming on and sharing some great insight. It like made my year. It was just like such a rewarding pod.
Yeah,
So it was nice to have her to talk to us, and it just it made the whole experience great. And I hope we get a season two. And thank you guys for
definitely.
filling in too when not filling in, but when I couldn't be there, you just let me be in that barn with Billy and AKA Flea, and you didn't come get me until a week later. But it's okay.
Hot check barn. Ando.
Yeah, basically repeating exactly what Solo said. This was fun. I'm glad we took a shot on this show because I had no idea what to expect. It's like, and I can't believe how fun it was. And even though this is different than a lot of the shows we've talked about in the past, I think we made it super fun. And talking to Latoya was just, you're right, it was just a highlight of podcasting of a long one. Even if the show doesn't come back and she doesn't do anything for a while, it would be fun to just have her on a podcast to talk TV with her or
Especially
films.
those or
Her
films
her
because
knowledge is so
we'll bring her on
amazing.
for Parallax View rewatch.
Yes.
Oh, I like
Or
that.
yeah, oh, so that
So
was just
Latoya, you're
amazing.
booked for a year, so don't take
Well,
any
that could be
Yes.
that's if there is a season two. That's another off season
Yes.
pod. The influences with
hmm
Latoya.
Yeah, so just
But
it
no,
was so
that
fun.
seriously
Yeah.
was fun because it like, I don't always reach out when we cover a show. I don't always try to get an interview or reach out to people because we're not like an interview podcast. We recap and we talk about television shows. So it's like different when we do the interview thing, but it kind of makes it feel worth it that we're doing the show when she comes on it and we get to talk about it because it's like, oh, hey, we happened into a little community here and the
Right.
people making it actually appreciate the time we're taking too. And we're all trying to do something, which is create something so other people listen to it and enjoy it. Anyway, it was super fun. I really hope there's season two because I love the reveal at the end. I think it's super fun. I think it's fun, and I want to get more into the LSD as well. Or maybe I'll just take LSD. Maybe that'll be an off-season
Take
podcast.
LSD,
Axel
blight,
takes LSD.
buy some blue suede shoes, and look through your Rolodex
Yeah,
while
why
Perry's
is
doing a dance for you on Sunday.
I
yeah,
like it. I'm gonna
why
do
is
that.
Xavier giving people LSD? What that whole there's so many things. Oh man, I don't want to get down that rabbit hole, but yeah,
And I
Just
let
take
let
the
just realized
LSD
why
and
Axel said LSD because it was in the show. I thought he was
yep,
just, yeah.
just realized. He
I
just
just
thought I
realized.
was really taking
Yeah,
LSD
yeah,
because I
yeah. You
could be
could be.
microdosing. All right, thank you everyone. Subscribe to Daily DVR. Go to dvrpodcast.com. We love you everybody. I love you guys. Peace out everyone. Take care.